Okay. Good afternoon. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is the clerk's report.
You should have the minutes from March 2nd for approval.
I make a motion we accept the minutes.
Seconded. Any discussion on that motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion?
Sorry, Terry,
Aye.
Lance,
Aye.
Clyde.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0.
Good. Next item on the agenda is the deputy treasurer's report.
You have one regular warrant, one UT warrant, one TIF warrant, and one payroll warrant. Sorry, one payroll warrant for approval.
I make a motion we accept the deputy treasurer's report.
Seconded. And do we want to include in that motion that we sign the report?
Probably we gotta do. Want to amend that?
Amend that motion to include signing the
Sign it.
Yes, kind of the warrants.
Didn't they say that? Oh, I make a motion we amend that to sign the deputy treasurer's report.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion on that? If none, Sting,
Yep, Terry,
aye.
Lance,
Aye.
Clyde.
Yes.
Unanimous 3-0.
Okay. Item number 3, part-time new hire for the detention center, Corlett from Livermore Farms.
Yes, they conducted interviews last week, and that was the recommendation of the interview committee.
Has he got previous?
I do not know that answer. I don't know if Doug is on the line. 866.
Doug's there, tell him to do a star 5.
Doug, if you're listening, please do star 5. I don't see him. I mean, I don't.
Never mind.
He does not, he will get his
Probably
necessary, he
has.
does not have his
He
certification.
passed those.
He did, they do the
Yeah.
alert test and et cetera, and they will provide in-house training for part-timers at Renewal.
Okay. So did you make a motion, Clyde?
Yeah.
Hire.
I make a motion that we hire Corlett. Is that how you pronounce it?
Sounds good.
Part-time, hire, detention center.
Second.
Any further discussion on that motion? All those in favor of that motion?
Terry,
Aye.
Lance,
Aye.
Clyde,
Aye.
unanimous 3-0.
All right. Item number 4, renewal of a lease with the town of Farmington for the Anson Street parking lot.
And you should have a copy of that right in front of you, Terry, of the original lease with the renewal page attached as the second page.
Oh,
And we did that, the original lease back in April of 2019.
have we had any issues?
I have not heard of any, Nick, have you heard of
No.
any? We've had no complaints, no comments.
You wanna do that, Lance, if you're ready?
Yeah, no, I was saying, how much do we get?
Oh, nothing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a free gratis.
They-
I move that we renew the lease.
Second motion.
Any discussion on that motion? Are they using it now? They are.
Well, it's been used a lot more now than ever because now it's overnight parking for the employees that are working right at the street.
Very good.
And of course, they're doing all the maintenance as well, so that's good.
Yeah.
That's why we
Saves
did that
some
in
time.
lieu of payments, correct, and we're doing the maintenance.
Okay, all those in favor of that motion now?
Terry,
Yes.
Lance,
Yeah.
Clyde,
Yes.
unanimous 3-0. I have the original here for your signature, if you don't mind.
Okay. Okay, item number 5, renewal of an ADE contract for the detention center.
Yes, so as I mentioned last time, we went out for RFP on 2 of the other contracts that we have at the jail. We renewed on the medical. Doug was awaiting this new contract from Renewal from ABE. They are basically, as Doug put it, the only provider in Franklin County that can provide the adult basic education services at the jail. And they've been extremely happy with their service.
Good.
So they're encouraging a renewal at that price, and I believe it's a 1-year contract.
And it didn't go up. It's the same as it was
Right,
last
that
year.
is correct. That's why we're considering the renewal.
I make a motion we renew the contractors ABE for the county.
It's education.
Yeah. All right, second one.
Okay. Any further discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion?
Terry?
Yes.
Lance?
Yes.
Clyde?
Yeah,
Unanimous, 3-0.
Item number 6, consideration of over-limit weight and bond permits for construction projects.
Yes, the DOT is proposing, and you see those right in front of you, Terry, to your left. There are 2 permits there for construction in Wyman Township and Carabasset Valley on Route 16. The second project is Madrid Township B, Sandy River Plantation, Rangeley Plantation, and Rangeley Route 4. And what they are requesting at this point is the second page, that agreement to be completed for the over-limit permit, construction over-limit permit for both projects. And this is very commonplace, we do this each year at this time as they begin the construction season.
So this just basically is saying like when there's posted roads, they still can bring heavier loads?
Yes, that is correct. We have to grant that to them in those UT areas.
Well, I guess if they're working on the road and they're messing up, they can fix them.
We have not had an issue to date. So.
I move that we, so it says consideration, it's
Just your consideration, do you want to do it or not?
oh, okay. Yeah, I move that we consider it.
And approve it? I would
Yeah,
move
the motion is that we consider it, Connie.
consider it okay.
Yeah.
Consider it okay,
I
yeah.
would
That's
consider it okay.
Yeah, so they can do it.
Yeah,
In last preface, it said if they mess them up, they can fix it.
yeah.
So,
I think they probably would.
so
Yes.
you second it?
I second it.
All right. Any further discussion? Saying none, all those in favor?
Terry?
Yes.
Lance?
Yes.
And Clyde?
Yes,
Unanimous 3-0. I have the originals for your signature.
okay, here's a true copy.
Yeah, this one here.
No, that's the next.
You know, Clyde,
All right.
that second page.
Consideration, yes, right, voting agreements.
Where it says municipality office.
Yeah, we're the municipal
It
office.
has, 1, 2, 3.
I'll give those to you, make copies of them. That's sure. I'll send the originals.
Just put them here?
No.
Just pass it back down.
Oh, I think he did say that.
Then sign this one.
Thank you, Clyde.
Okay. Item number 7 is the vote on the grievance appeal hearing decision. Teamsters Local 340.
Yes, if you want to discuss that further, we could certainly go into executive session. As you recall, we came out of executive session and took no action. Talking with our attorney, if you are happy with the narrative that's here for the decision, we can simply call it the Teamsters Grievance hearing of March 2nd, 2021. Take a vote on that, and then this will not become a public document at this point because I am aware that this is going to the Maine Labor Relations Board, so it's not a final action. It's going to be appealed by the union.
I move that we accept the document.
Second that motion, we accept the document.
Okay, any further discussion on that? All in favor of that motion?
Terry?
Yes?
Lance?
Yeah.
Clyde?
Yes.
We sign.
And I've got some on letterhead there. You've got the same thing, that's fine. It has all three signatures.
We have 3 signatures on this one.
Perfect, thank you.
Will I sign that?
Yes. At least so.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I want to go into executive session on that.
Oh.
Afterwards, we go to the shop.
Oh,
I think we are.
in the future. We've accepted it now, the way it's written.
Well, you'd already you've had your discussion with them in executive session at the last meeting.
Yeah, see, that one here. And I couldn't get through, did you?
Okay.
I just.
No, I think we had, that was 2 meetings ago, wasn't it?
No, that was the
No,
last
right.
meeting.
It was, the one when we heard from them guys?
Yes, I believe it was the last
Okay.
meeting.
I just.
It was a special, let me stand corrected, Lance. I believe we had a special meeting just for the grievance.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the one before
Yeah,
the
you
last.
are correct.
And I believe
Yeah.
you were here.
Yeah, okay, but I just want to make my
Comment.
comment on it.
You
And I
can, you
can't, I
should,
gotta do it in executive session.
yes, we can go back into executive session to discuss this further if you like, but we should not be discussing this in public.
No, I realize it.
Okay. So we can do this at the end of the meeting.
I just want that the board, other board members know how I feel.
Okay.
about this.
Sure, we can go back in at the end of the meeting. That's
Okay.
fine.
Okay. All right. So now we're going into old business. There's no other new business. We got the imaging meeting with DPS.
Department of Public Safety. I had Amanda, where she is acting director at the Communication Center. I had her reach out to Bob Gasper, who is with the state E911 and has, I guess, general oversight over the dispatch CAD systems that is used. And I said, we asked him if he could, and he's going to have to do it via Zoom because they're not allowed to travel, the state employees at this point. He would like the ability to zoom in and do a presentation to you on how that orthoimagery can be used and actually show you a screen, an example of how it's used at the dispatch and other ways it can be useful to public safety, search and rescue, so you can actually see the comparison.
So he's going to show Google as well as.
I think that I will double
Okay,
check with him.
that's what Lance asked.
But he could be available at our first Commissioners meeting in April, if you would like him to do so. So have him come up.
Good.
And I was going to also extend the invitation, because by then I hope we'll be open to the public. We'll talk about that in a moment. And let the municipalities know that he's going to be here. And if they wanted to come down and view, it would be a good opportunity for everybody to see the same
Sure.
information at once.
Absolutely.
Julie,
Yes.
when we have that meeting, Terry mentioned that the J and J, that do you know if we paid for something similar in the past like this, and if so, how much?
Yes, Vicki can certainly answer
So if we
that.
could get that
Yeah, we
information, I
did, I think
appreciate
it was
it.
in 2014 or 15.
That is correct.
Whenever it was,
Yeah.
we must have paid something.
Yes, the county paid 25,000 and the UT paid 15,000.
Okay, and is, okay, thank you.
And they also paid $10,000 for exploratory.
Okay.
So it's a total of almost 50,000 so far.
What was the 10,000 exploratory? I'm not, what was the 10,000 exploratory? I can't recall that, Terry, honestly.
Yeah, that was first in 2012, then 14. Yeah, and then
No.
Vicky said there's some left over,
Yes.
3,200.
What they did in 2012, they started putting 10,000 a year into a reserve account.
Okay, so
And
with
then
the total,
when it came to the time to pay for it, we had the funds in there, and we still have some.
so the
in
first
there.
appropriation was 2012 of
Correct,
10,000.
when they first discussed it.
Okay, but the total project cost was a combined total of 40,000.
Yes, that's
Okay,
correct.
all right.
And just one other question, they continue to be putting money in there?
No.
So is there
it was-
any money
it was
left in
just
that
a
reserve
one-time-
account?
It was just
Yeah.
a one-time thing.
How much is left in the reserve account?
3,200,
Yes.
3,500,
Yes,
Okay,
it was that, yeah.
or more. But my question, bigger question is, who's used it?
Yes, I know that, and
Yeah,
that, and I can't address that, and I think that's why we need the municipalities here.
Yeah,
If
that's
they're
why I
using
keep
that
saying
That's
imagery,
fine.
you let them speak to it.
Yeah, we'll wait.
Yep.
All right. Number 2, detention center compressor value and donation request. Nick?
Gentlemen asked me to look into it. It's a Quincy 2004 is what we get from what the model number is. It's pretty dusty, hasn't been in service for a while.
What's a gallon capacity?
30.
30?
It's a small 30 gallon
So it's
weight
small.
down tank with 2 opposing 7.5 horse motors, so it's a 15 horse electronic control, so you can do kind of a lead lag. I spoke with ADT, that's who I go to my plumbing meetings and such. Roughly brings systems such as that, which isn't really called for anymore. Roughly $4,800 to $5,200 for this unit. Estimated value being 04 today, he said roughly $1,200 to $1,500. Upon saying that, John and myself, we did start the unit. It's been a while since it's been in operation. And there is some weeping happening, I think, because it has not been ran, so therefore it's starting to draw. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I mean, whatever you gentlemen would like to do, if it is something you think about donating. One thing I mentioned to John is it would have to be a kind of a professional installation. It's 3-phase power, so therefore everything will have to be properly capped, addressed, the old air lines, capped, addressed, if you were to do something.
So would the donee, would they pay for that? Or would the county have to pay for disassembling?
Well, and that's something that John and I discussed. I don't know if he's on the line, but I said I'm pretty sure if this was something we were donating, you guys would be paying an electrician and somebody to address these to code. So,
That's what I wrote. It sounds like it's leaking now, so.
I move we donate it to New Sharon.
And they pick up the
Yeah,
tab.
they've got to come get it and all that.
yep.
Second that one?
Yeah, second.
Okay, any further discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Terry?
Yes?
Lance?
Yes.
Clyde?
Yeah,
Unanimous 3-0.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
Okay, reopening schedule for the county courthouse.
Yes, in light of everything that seems to be improving in Franklin County in regards to COVID, and we're getting into a budget season, and the limits have gone up for indoor meetings, and we'll make that determination exactly on the courtroom going forward. I think March 29th would be an appropriate date to open this facility back up to the public and let everybody come in, and we can conduct business as much as typical, as we usually do, in accordance with the changing guidance.
Which means social distancing.
Still social.
Mask.
Mask, correct.
Right.
I move we open it March 29th.
second one.
Any further discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor of that motion?
Terry?
Yes.
Lance?
Yes.
Clyde?
Yes,
Great, thank you, unanimous 3-0.
Good. Good.
Before we hit miscellaneous, could we circle back up to the discussion regarding the Helix abatement?
Yes, that's what this is. Yes. If this is what you were talking about, we're gonna have to pay back, right?
That is correct,
Now,
yes.
what I see here is the amount Helix could pay county back, then amount then county could pay back, so. Well, you were talking about that 469 number earlier, right?
Yes, so can I
Okay,
explain
sure.
this? Yep. So we have followed up, we being Sharon Mueller, our TIF attorney, and she's available by phone if we need her, but I don't think we're gonna need her. I think this is we've got a pretty good resolution to this. We did a conference call yesterday, Vicki Shawner and I representing the county. We spoke with Lisa Wynott and was it Paul Tracy from Maine Revenue, Property Tax Division, and Fernando Reynoso from Helix representing the company. And long story short, the state has agreed, because they have to pay back the taxpayer being Helix, the $469,611.60 that they abated. They are prepared to do so, and we're hearing they can do so probably this week, issue a payment to Helix. Upon receipt of that check, Helix will owe us, per the credit enhancement agreement, the 60% number of the $281,766.96. They will issue that payment to us upon receipt of their payment from the state, and then the county will have to repay the $187,844.64 in combination of the Helix payment for the full amount of the abatement back to the state.
So-
That will make everybody whole.
So just for rough math, I understand this right. The state's gonna pay them 469,000, right?
Correct.
Helix is gonna give us 180,000, 281,000.
That's correct.
And we're gonna pay back about 180 to the state.
Yes,
So we'll be
in
coming out roughly
combined,
100,000 ahead.
combined with the Helix payment for the total of 469. It's just a circle payment.
No, right, but we're not paying the 469, the state is, right?
They're paying the initial 469 because they overassessed
Right.
the property.
And we have to pay 469 too?
No, we're just paying the 187,844.64 of the overpayment that we received.
Right, so just roughly, we're gonna have what, 80, 90,000 extra?
No, if you do the math, those should equal.
The state pays 469, right?
Well, what's 187,844 and the 281?
What's in the 60% number, right?
Yeah, I'm saying add the two payments together, they should total.
It's half the 1,200,000.
Okay, I'm an idiot, so
No, you're not, no.
bear with me. Okay, I'm just looking at these two bottom numbers. So my point is, the state is gonna pay Helix 469,611, right?
That is correct for the tax abatement.
Right.
Yes, you are correct.
Then Helix is gonna pay us back 281 to the county, right?
That is correct.
And then the difference,
No.
then we're gonna pay back 100, whatever the 281 to make 469, which is roughly 90-something thousand.
No, we have to pay back our 40% share of the
Yeah,
187.
that's the point though, it's 40%. So we end up with money.
Well,
All
no,
right, hold on, let me
no,
get my calculator out, 'cause I'm an idiot.
no, you're not. So you don't understand. We get the money, the tax payment, the captured new value for the TIF comes to the county.
Right,
We pay that money out per our CEA agreement with that 60-40 split.
okay.
So the abatement amount, not the total value that the payment we received 1.4 million, but the
Right.
abatement is only in the amount of roughly 470.
Right,
So we have to, because we receive all the money up front, the credit enhancement agreement is solely between us and the county. The state has nothing to do with that.
yeah.
But still, we are the recipient of the 469 initially in the initial payment. And then after that, we send that off to, so we are liable to repay the 469 that they overassessed. But part of that money was sent to Helix.
Oh, I see, so they're gonna send us back, we're gonna add the 187 and send the whole thing to the state.
Got it. Exactly. It's confusing because it's two separate agreements.
Took me a
Yes.
minute, but I got this.
So why,
Full circle.
It's very confusing.
why are they devaluing that so much? Is that
Because-
part of the 30-year TIF that we signed?
So I would defer to Maine Revenue to explain the reason, but my discussions with our attorney and with Lisa Wynott at the state was the depreciation schedule they were using was no longer appropriate for that current equipment. When that equipment went in back in 2009, there's newer equipment now. And I think somewhere along the way, they changed their depreciation schedule. And I believe Helix said that that was not the appropriate depreciation schedule to use, and they brought in experts to show that it was in, that the newer wind projects have different technology and they have different depreciation rates, is my understanding in general.
They
And that's
estimated-
in a nutshell.
When they first came out, they estimated these were only good for 20 years. And those have been there since 2008. So that's absolutely zero on time. Yeah.
So how much going forward, right? I assume going forward, because of this reevaluation that we owe back to, right? That we are not going to be receiving quite as much going forward as we were. Do you know how much that is going to be left?
Yes, we did an estimate, and we're going to say it's going to be in the $1 million range.
A
going
year?
forward. Yes,
That we're going to lose.
that we're going to get paid. We were paid 1.4.
Okay, so we're going to lose about 400,000.
That is correct, the abatement amount.
Gotcha, okay, gotcha. So about $400,000 a year less than we were getting.
That's correct.
Okay.
And one good point that Shauna made as well is this 469, last year's payment was unusually large. It is because the UT recently had done a revaluation. And that was the first year that was captured in our payment amount.
Yeah.
So that was an unusually high payment, and now it's gonna go back to what it usually was because of the abatement.
Yeah.
So,
So if they put more towers, if they put more things on those windmill towers, then we're gonna recoup more money. See, that's my issue with Central Maine Power.
you would assume that, but I don't know, Terry, I'm not a tax expert, but yeah, if you'd update your equipment, I'm sure your values.
But Clyde made a comment here earlier, that they keep adding and up there, so then, and they're not taking away things yet. So if they're adding, then the valuation should be increasing.
And if they're gonna go to new equipment, because their old equipment they say is outdated, they're gonna put new equipment in, that's worth a lot more money than the old equipment.
I understand, but I mean, we don't get involved, obviously, we're not involved in assessing the taxes, but you would assume, and I don't know that
Who does
firsthand.
assess the taxes for an organized territory?
State,
State,
Okay, state.
what else
Main-
been
main property tax does.
Okay.
That's who we're dealing with here in the repayment.
And then, so, do you know also what is annually kind of, it probably changes from year to year, like an average on what comes out of that TIF every year?
Oh, for payments for projects?
Yeah, whatever, it's got a million, it's been having $1 million before, it's gonna have $1 million.
Probably 200,000 to 300,000, depending on, I mean, we have one large project pending. There's larger scale projects, and then we have a lot of the smaller scale projects that were currently underway that require the TIF committee. And a lot of those types of projects are the trail improvements, marketing, mapping, promotional stuff.
Anyway, there's a lot less.
That's probably,
Correct.
we don't expend the full amount of what we receive each year.
No.
That is
Not
correct.
even close.
That is correct.
Gotcha. That's all I wanted.
So, we do have language here that our
This is from
attorney,
Bernstein Shore, right?
yes, this is from our attorney, and that would be the suggested motion to,
All right. I know we accept this language to get these guys paid back, what they overpaid, blah, blah, blah.
I'll second that. Any further discussion on this motion? Stan?
I just don't agree with the whole thing.
well, we have this,
I
It's-
think the state kind of stepping over the norms when they give them the paper. And because up there, everything is private. The roads are private, you have to get permission to go on the road. They're taking a lot of our wild land for hunting, fishing, whatever. They keep adding to the place up there all the time. And they're making a good profit off that. And who's hurting? It does.
So this was battled out in court, right?
No, I mean, this is just like if you were a taxpayer in Farmington.
And you went down and said you're overcharging me.
Yep, you filled
Anyway,
it
it went through a process that has been set up.
out. Correct.
So in order to say, we're not gonna pay this, we'd have to challenge this legally somehow and show.
And my understanding is, Lance, in Commissioners, talking with Sean, our attorney, is we don't have standing.
Yep.
We do not have standing.
Would be interesting, I would understand.
You know,
But the other thing is.
That was the discussion we had, because one of the discussions I had with Shauna was, the only reason I knew that this tax abatement had been filed
Right.
is because Helix, when we made the last payment in 2020, gave me a courtesy call and said, thank you for your payment, we have received it, but we want you to know that we are disagreeing with the valuation and we will be filing an abatement. And that was the last I heard of it.
How
until
is
last
the world
week.
is that we don't have standing?
We don't. I mean, you can talk with our attorney on that.
Well, that's an interesting question beside, but the other thing is, if we hypothetically try to fight this, right? The
Correct.
state might also say, well, you can pay the whole 469.
Yeah, you can pay it all.
Well, they could withhold future tip payments from
Right,
us.
which
I'm
would
assuming as
be
well.
very problematic.
Yeah,
Yes.
because they hold the funds.
But one thing we did point out to Maine Revenue in our discussions with them is currently there's no mechanism in place. They know we have a CEA agreement with Helix.
Yeah.
It seems to be, there should be some procedure in place where we, the county, who will be footing part of the bill, should have been notified
I just don't
and
understand.
should have been made privy to, not that we have a right to, I don't even think, testify at that hearing. That has nothing to do with the valuation, the abatement process. But there doesn't even seem to be a rule that Maine Revenue is allowing us to even be notified. Those are some concerns that we've expressed to them,
Yeah.
and I think they've taken them seriously now.
I think out of courtesy, they should involve.
Correct.
I think-
They should have known that,
That's my biggest idea right there, is when they start giving out abatements, the state, and we control it, I would think that we ought to be notified that there's gonna be an abatement.
I agree with the notification.
And we should have been notified to be able to go up and go over the equipment or anything we want to. And we wasn't, we left out, right out in the field somewhere. And it bothers the whole thing out of me, this whole TIF money and the whole nine yards, we have to handle it. We have guidelines to go by, and the whole nine yards. And now, all of a sudden, we're left right out of the whole situation.
Yeah.
That's what bothers me.
And we did make the point to Maine Revenue during our discussions, and it was one of the initial points I made to our attorney, Shauna, was, you know, we have a good-sized TIF with a good amount of money coming in. What if we've been a smaller county with a very small TIF payment each year of $100,000, a very small TIF, and what if we expend our money every year and we don't have money sitting in our TIF account?
Yeah,
That could be a burden
right.
to future
For sure.
counties
Sure.
going forward, that you have to make this payment, they expect it all at once. You may not have that readily available to make that payment, so.
I know what we could do. We could, as the county commissioners, we could send a letter to our state legislative delegation, requesting that they look into this and see if they would consider taking proper legislative action to remedy the situation. How's that?
Yeah, very good.
Very good.
Very good, yeah. Yeah.
So it'd be
I
like.
think that's good, because I think the situation certainly highlighted that the procedures at Maine Revenue could probably use some improvement.
Yeah.
I agree with Lance on that.
Okay.
Want to make that a motion and we can,
You want-
I move that we send a letter to our.
You already have a motion.
We have a motion on the
Oh,
floor.
Motion and second to accept the
Pay
letter.
it,
To pay it, pay the bill.
Wait a minute, that's the first one.
Yeah.
We will let him Clyde speak. Okay?
No, that's it.
Go set.
I agree with
All
that.
those in favor of the motion for
the payment?
paying them back?
Terry?
Yes.
Lance?
Yes.
Clyde?
Yeah.
Unanimous, 3-0, thank you.
Now I move that we send a letter to our legislative delegation, asking them to look for a remedy from the state. make perhaps a legislative change.
Yeah.
I second the motion on that.
We can decide how that letter's gonna look.
Any further discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor of that motion?
Terry?
Yes?
Lance?
Yes.
Clyde?
Yeah,
Unanimous, 3-0. Thank you.
Okay. All right, I don't have the updated miscellaneous, you, Lisa.
I've got it handwritten, so that's why.
Okay.
I do not have it with me today. However, Doug at the jail has informed me that the state was up over the last week or so, and the annual jail inspection by the Department of Corrections was undertaken. And they, again, as usual, did extremely well with, I believe either 100% or 98 or 99% scores on all of their measures that they're scored upon.
Thank you.
So you will be seeing a report from the board, Department of Corrections. Doug just couldn't get it down here today. I don't think he has it yet, but they did a wonderful job again as usual.
one question, back here, a couple of meetings ago or so, we got a letter about bad stuff at the jail. Does that come in on the correction center, does that come in on that we've done good?
Oh, you're talking the report from the Board of Visitors for the jail.
Yeah.
Correct. So I know they identified, and I have not read their whole report, but I have been emailing back and forth with the sheriff. They have, the Board of Visitors have identified future areas that are going to need addressing as far as capital issues. That's my understanding. What the Department of Corrections looks at, I can't speak to that because I've never been through the inspection program. However, the current standards are meeting, the current operating facility itself is meeting all the standards that's set by DOC.
Okay.
It doesn't mean there may be some capital replacement issues
Okay.
coming up in the future, but as of today, everything is functioning and operating
This is just for
efficiently.
the operation then,
But we do know it is an aging facility, and there's gonna need to be money put into that to bring it, to keep it up to standards in the future.
So that must be why, for the last 2 years, we've seen the same kind of a report from that standing visiting. They've shown those wires and that sort of thing, but that's not an issue with,
If it's not an issue with the DOC, if it was an immediate hazardous issue, it would have been definitely
Right,
brought to
yeah,
their
correct.
attention and addressed immediately, so.
yeah, okay. We're still going to visit that jail sooner or later.
Soon as we can
Yeah.
make it feasible under our safety guidelines.
Yeah, fine. Okay. What else do you have on the,
I've got all kinds of good stuff. So I was contacted this week, after I had put the agenda together, from Maine Cannabis Solutions.
Yes.
Amanda Melnick is the representative or primary spokesperson for this consulting firm. She has approached me, and we have either, I don't know if it's a business, if it's been an LLC or what it is, but there are landowners or business owner in Freeman Township who is interested in establishing adult use cultivation of marijuana in Freeman Township. So I have given you, and I sent you the link, and here is all the information from the Maine Municipal that gives a great summary of the process that the county would have to go through, similar to a municipality, if the county wants to elect to opt in to allowing any and or all types of adult use marijuana in the UTs. So that's the initial hurdle that you have to get over. There's 4 different types that can be allowed, and I won't go through these and bore you. You can certainly read it yourself, but it's cultivation, production, an actual retail store, etc. It's all outlined in here.
and the difference would be that we could make that legal?
It is.
It is legal.
Right now, they don't have any licensing or,
It's like a town, if I understand this, it's like Farmington saying we're gonna allow this in our town, we would be saying it in the territories.
That is correct. So it's exactly, in my mind, it's very similar to allowing, which we had to go back and redo, the sale of alcoholic beverages.
Yeah.
Same exact thing. Legally, it can't take place in the organized territories unless you opt in, and then you get to decide which, if any or all, none of the categories you want to approve. You don't have to approve all of them, you can approve one or two. You could approve it in just one area of the UT, or you could approve it in all of the UT.
Yeah.
So that's totally for you to make that determination.
I sat on that committee for over a year.
So
God, I thought it was-
Ms. Melnick would like to, I'm sure, come up and make a presentation to you, giving you a better idea of the licensing requirements that the state has and all the hurdles that the applicants would have to go through, in addition to getting county approval, in addition to getting the LUPC approval. If you have any questions or concerns, she would be, more than willing to come to a meeting.
Isn't that going to give, make more work for you people? Because you're gonna have to handle those permits?
The only thing we would do is you would, once you authorize, if you were to authorize, as the applications come in, if you've authorized it and they meet all the state requirements, it's pretty much just us signing off on it.
Okay.
Because we don't have anything to do with planning. The big issue with a lot of these is where they're located,
All the other towns.
and that's
are doing it.
controlled by
Why-
WPC.
Why would we not allow it in the unorganized territory?
My guess is it won't be the first amount of marijuana that's ever been grown in an organized territory.
Well, I know it's not the first.
And to that, Lance, I will say I did consult with our legal team down there at Benson Baird, and Ben McCall was the attorney I spoke with. And as an aside, he agreed. He said, this is far better than just having rogue
Yeah.
industries out there.
At least you have a handle on who's growing it and,
So how do you spell her last name?
Melnick.
Can you say that again?
Melnick, Melnick, Amanda.
Lance served on that committee for a year.
Oh,
Yeah,
great.
I was the one that helped write this.
Yep, well then,
So this is like karma, I guess.
Yeah.
so would you like to have her come in and maybe?
Yes, I should like to see what she is.
Um,
Particularly, I want to find out if she's related to Elizabeth, who was on that committee.
With you. Okay.
so yeah, I can set her up for one of the meetings in April.
More education is.
It is, yeah.
I'm fine.
Good, I will do that.
So that-
Not last, Jim's turn. So Jim, do you want to address the server?
Which one?
Let's start with the server.
The purchase?
Yes.
So, I know Clyde and Terry knew about me talking about upgrading the servers the last few years and how we've been putting away $10,000 a year. And as of this budget cycle, we'll have $30,000. I've got the quote to do the upgrade, and this is a hardware upgrade, it's $98,000.
$60, sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's why I wanted $40,000 a year put away. The Budget committee knocked it down to 10. Anyway, so we've been talking with Julie and we can come up with the money. It would be the $30,000 from my account, $19,000 from a insurance money left over that we saved,
Yes, we have extra funds in the insurance reserve.
$19,000.
Yeah.
And then Susan Black has her, what do you call that?
Surcharge.
Surcharge account. She has like $100-something,000, and she's willing to pay the remainder.
Might as well take that $3,500 out of that reserve account for that imaging.
What's that?
That $3,500 in that reserve account for that imaging they paid for last time.
Yeah, that's up to you.
So we have the money to go ahead with the project. We really need to go ahead with it because that equipment's like, God, it's 6 years old now. And the issues are that this fall, all the maintenance software and hardware is going to be, it's at end of life, is basically what they call it. So you need to upgrade.
How often do we have to upgrade?
Well, since I've been here, this is the first time.
Oh.
I've been dragging my, honestly, I've been extending this equipment. It's actually been off from the hardware maintenance, because we've been working with systems engineer, and they agreed, instead of us paying a ton of money to support this old equipment, they've agreed to, I think it was like 3 years ago, they agreed to do a contract with us that if any equipment failed, they would replace it, get us back up and running in no time, but we would have to pay them on the equipment. So we saved a lot of money there. So.
Is there any value to the equipment?
Yeah, I could try to sell it,
Token?
but yeah.
Okay.
So that's what we'd like to have you guys approve, to get the ball rolling, because we really need to get that equipment in.
Would it be wise or to look at all the reserve accounts we have?
That's what we did.
And we've been talking about this
That's
for a
what we
month.
did.
Okay.
We went through every reserve account, and I just wanted,
And we also should mention that Tim is working with this EMA grant money that we
Homeland
hopefully will
Security.
get.
Yeah, we didn't do very well on this COVID-19.
no,
1.9 trillion coming, so we ought to be able to get some of that. So.
no, Tim, no, can't count that money. That's,
We'll get
that's gonna get redirected.
Yeah.
But Tim does have, he is currently working on the next round of Homeland Security funding. And we're hopeful, we're gonna try to secure some more money, because this 98,000 does not complete the project. We still need 40,000 for the software.
Yeah.
And we're
Which we're
hoping
gonna do
that,
next year.
yeah, next year, but we're hoping that Tim can come through with the grant, and we'll have that all taken care of.
But we can't plan on that because they
Can't.
stepped us to COVID, so.
Right.
And we can't use the TIF money in church.
Yeah, it's gonna be very difficult. Very
But
difficult.
we're spending money last, just on the abatement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So if that's acceptable, I mean, we should have a motion, Vicky, because the 19,000 that we currently have in reserve is in insurance reserve, because remember, we set money aside when we departed Maine County Commissioners Association, and we put money aside, and now that has been settled, so that 19,000 is no longer needed. So we could close out that reserve and reappropriate it to the purchase of a server. That would have to be one motion for the auditors.
So then, I move that we take that 19,000 and put it towards the server. And then you said you got about 30?
30,000, yeah. That's
The
the
first
first
one has to
one.
be that one separate.
Yeah, let's do the
All right.
first one
I
first.
move that we take that 19,000 and move it towards the server program.
Second motion.
Good. Any further discussion on that motion? All those in favor of that motion?
Terry?
Yes?
Lance?
Yes.
Clyde?
Yes.
Unanimous, 3-0. Sue, do we actually?
She's online, you wanna ask? her?
Yeah,
She's got
Sue,
some big money, so get
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
don't worry, we were over there talking to her the last couple of weeks.
Sue, you there?
Yeah,
All
can
right.
you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you, heard what I said, right?
That I was gonna foot the bill?
Yeah. Your graciousness.
Pretty much that.
So,
What was your question?
well, can I just ask before we go? So there's 19,000 there, right? And you said you had how much per way?
30,000.
So there's 49,000, so then we have about roughly another 50,000.
Yeah.
And that will be coming out of Susan's account?
Correct.
Okay.
If we cannot find other funds elsewhere, but we've looked pretty hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Cash it
Right,
out.
I didn't want to hold the project up, so I said I'll put the rest of it, but if we find some money, great.
Right,
Yeah.
that is understandable,
Good.
yes.
That's working together.
Yep, we're very fortunate.
Thank you very much, Susan.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sue.
So I guess the last thing we would need is a motion to go ahead and make the purchase of the server for the 98,000 so we can get the order placed.
I move that we go ahead and make the purchase.
Second motion.
Any further discussion on that motion? Seeing none? Those in favor?
Terry?
Aye.
Lance?
Aye.
Clyde?
Yes.
Thank you.
Unanimous, 3-0, thank you.
They need to sign the, or can I just sign this?
Yes, so Jim has a contract to enter into the agreement. Would you give him the authority to sign on your behalf today?
Sure.
Jim, can I ask who?
I move that we give the authority to sign.
Second motion.
All in favor of that motion, so signify.
Terry?
Yes.
Lance?
Yeah.
Clyde?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
To authorize Jim to sign.
Oh, okay, I missed it.
Are we gonna talk about that other thing?
So you're gonna take,
Yes.
did I understand we're gonna use that 3,500 out of the mapping
No.
Good.
that was left, or did you just
I
leave
said
that
that
alone?
okay.
You know, that's dedicated to UT, so why don't we just leave it there and let it lapse?
I think so.
Well, let's get as much as we can out of the UT.
We'll just let that sit, we'll close that out at the end of the year and put it into maybe roads and bridges or something.
Maybe give it back to Sue.
No.
Yeah, I looked in the records a while ago, and the culvert issue that Mike Pond wants to purchase a bunch of culverts, and he was looking for different bids. We used to purchase them from the state. What happened to that?
I don't recall purchasing them from the state.
I didn't know the state was in business so ago.
No, me neither.
They
I
never
think,
looked at the town.
I think for a while, when we were actively involved in members of AvCog, we used their preferred rate that they had negotiated, Terry. That is my recollection. And then other than that, quite a while ago, 2 road supervisors before Mike, we always each year bid those out to local.
No, I
Entities.
couldn't saw a record where it was
I don't recall ever
Paul
getting any
McKean.
from.
working with the state. It states that in the records.
It was AvCog, I know that for sure.
It was through AvCog. Okay, all right.
And that could have been a continuation of the state rate, you know, because the state does get preferred
Yeah.
rates, they put
belong
those out.
to the association that we get our salt from and stuff. What was that association down in Auburn?
Well, AvCog,
AdCog.
Yes,
We
that-
used to belong to AdCog,
that is correct,
and we got our culverts from them.
that's correct.
At
Yeah, that-
a special price.
yeah.
They voted, Commissioners voted to not join AdCog. So we don't belong to AdCog, so we lost our culvert bid more.
It's the towns use that. Okay. Thank you, Tom.
With other things we lost too.
Well, yeah, but we just took that 19 grand from that and gave it to Jim.
Yeah.
We lost.
You'll see it in the air.
You buy a little culvert.
And Jim, we just want to give you an update on an issue that
Happened
everybody.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard on the news, this 0-day Microsoft Exchange vulnerable issue. Well, it affected us. Microsoft knew of this problem back in January. They kept it quiet until they could figure out what they had to do. And March 2nd, they announced it. They put out a fix. That day, that evening, I worked with systems engineering. We got it on our system. But Microsoft also made available some scanning tools and some toolkits to analyze your databases on Exchange, which is our mail server. And we did find that this group out of China called Hafnium had, not only on us, but hundreds of thousands of servers across the world, put this code onto people's systems. We got the fix on in time, so they couldn't initiate it to extract data. But we're still being very cautious with it. We notified our cybersecurity insurance company, Kai's. They've notified their carrier. And, they've been in contact with us. Julie has to fill out a form. And I'm also working with systems engineering on making sure we get the proper tools to make sure we get that server clean, to make sure that we get everything off our system.
And did you mention we did contact our insurance company?
Yep.
We have cyber insurance, so,
And the company's Chubb.
yeah. It's great.
Yeah, I saw that.
Chuck North America.
Yeah. I think that's what our politicians should be working on, is how to get or stop robocalls.
Oh,
Well, it used to be when you had cell phone, you couldn't, then they allowed those numbers to become public.
Yeah.
Now I keep getting calls that my warranty on my car is not right.
Yeah.
do you have an iPhone?
Yeah, is that my problem?
No, you can turn on a feature that if they're not in your contacts, your phone don't ring. It'll go to voicemail if it leaves a voicemail.
Jim, you need to show me how to do that, because I can barely get that.
No, I did it and it eliminated 99% of my crap.
I can't
I
erase,
also left the house, so I had no one that knows how to run that.
I still can't erase my deleted items on my computer.
What?
I have to do it
Do I
one
have to
at a
come up?
time.
Do I have to come up?
Yeah.
There's no delete button like Julie has on her.
I'll have to see what you,
I need the information that Julie has. All right, what else do you have?
I don't know.
Do you want to circle back to
Yeah, executive
We
session.
need to do the two under miscellaneous that we have.
Yeah.
Well, no, I left those are errors.
I thought they were from last.
They were from last time. I had an agreement.
Clyde wanted to go into executive
Clyde,
session.
yeah.
To deal with the,
Yeah,
To talk about the grievance that,
grievance.
yeah,
even though we've acted on it, we can still discuss it, that's fine.
okay, all right. I don't know the MRS.
Do we go into?
10456,
Yeah, for you.
Yeah,
E, I believe.
And I forget what I want to do. What was it on?
Oh,
D.
I know what you want to do. The contract. You want to make a comment.
Oh, I do have one miscellaneous that I think I did not get on the agenda.
I knew we gave her too much
You
time.
did, and thank you for saying union. I have a request from the NCEU, Correctional Employees Union, to open negotiations in April because our contract is expiring June 30. And I guess at this point, I'd like to know whom from the commissioners would like to sit on the negotiating team. Normally, it is myself, Vicky. The sheriff has designated Steve Lowell as the chief negotiator from his department. Now, usually Doug will participate because he's aware of the day-to-day operations. So we do need to usually have a commissioner so we don't create a,
So somewhat seamless, or as seamless as possible.
Yeah. I've done it the last few years. So if you'd like to do it.
But is
So-
this handled during the day, Clarence?
Well, that's just what I was gonna ask.
It happens during the day.
It is
so
during the
one of
day.
their
How
ground
many
rules.
days are we talking?
Yeah, so one of their ground rules is they like to negotiate in 4-hour increments. So when we meet during a day, we agree that it goes no longer than 4 hours.
Yeah,
Normally, we usually meet, Lance, usually mid-morning, 9, 10.
yeah.
Can we, I'm just a quick, is it something they kind of usually get done within a week, say?
Oh, no.
No,
Oh,
no, it lasts.
Oh, no.
It drags on sometimes.
No, this can be very, very.
so how many days a week is it?
Usually, we meet maybe once or twice a month.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, but it's pretty often.
Let me look into it with my employment first, okay,
Sure.
and then I'll get back to you.
Okay. You want to do it, Clyde, or no?
No, if Lance wants to do it.
I mean, I wouldn't mind
Very
doing
good.
it.
Yeah, I think it would be a great learning experience, and I think, it's interesting.
It's a good
And
education.
I will say, and I hope this continues to be true, this is one of the easier negotiations we usually have with the NCEU.
This group.
It's a pretty good group to negotiate with, so maybe it won't be as time consuming as others have been in the past.
Okay.
If you can't, Lance, I'll do that, okay?
One other question, just, could it be that, and you probably want to keep the same guy there all the time, but I was wondering if maybe I could split it with Corlett.
Oh.
We did that with Charlie and I.
Yeah, I don't have
But
an
maybe
issue with
that's a
that.
possibility too, Corlett.
I don't have an issue with that at all, because as we go
That
along.
also keep us both up to speed a little bit.
Yep, and as we go along, after we meet the next after we negotiate the next commissioners meeting, we always go into executive session to catch everybody up on where we are, so you're always up to speed.
And do we have any say on when they do meet?
Oh, yes, we pick those days.
Well, this is getting better all the time.
There you go.
Okay, so, because I mean, if it was in the afternoons versus the mornings or whatever, it makes a difference. All right, well, let me look into it.
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so when we did make a determination, if Lance, if you're interested, could you let me know? Because I would like to get dates on the board, and our attorney is the hard one to get pinned down. She's quite busy. And this time she's indicated, and I don't have an issue unless you do, not only because of COVID, but because keeping her off the clock from driving up to Portland, she would probably like to be able to Zoom in for the negotiations, at
Okay.
least for most of them. It would save us her time and us money.
All right, I'm gonna send myself an email right now.
Sure. So just let me know, and
Yep.
then we can talk
And
dates.
can you also send me an email to remind me, so I get 2 or 3 of my right
You might remember? Okay.
All right, can we go into executive session now or no? Pursuant to MS
4056D,
4056D.
union matter issue,
Okay,
grievance discussion.
I'll make that a motion then. I need a second.
I would second.
Okay. All in favor of that motion? So signify.
Terry,
Yes.
Lance,
Yeah.
Clyde.
Yeah.
Unanimous,
So
3-0.
we have an executive session at 4:02.